Oh, geez, put me right on the spot. Welcome
Hello.
to the HOLFIT +1 podcast.
It's your day.
It's my day, yeah. I've been told this is my day. So welcome everyone on the gram
And on Facebook.
And
Hello.
Be Live and MySpace, and hello to my peeps on ICQ. What's up?
Peeps on ICQ.
Yeah.
You are officially in your 40s. Saying something like that.
41. What are you talking about?
Hi, Ashley. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Jenny. Over on Instagram. Say hello. If you're here for the first time, Mr. HOLFIT has the mic today. And I am just here to make sure the internet doesn't break. But I do want to start by telling you I brought you a delicious smoothie. Because today is my opportunity to teach you what I would like you to do for me in future shows. So there you go.
Oh, I see. Bring it. Okay, yeah. I get that. Nice.
Hi, Julie.
You could just ask.
Well, modeling is my way.
Yeah, so. Love language number 4.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you guys, what's up? Say hello if you're over in California at doTERRA's Leadership Retreat. That's wrapping up today, right? So actually next week I'll be solo and I'll be doing a little leadership recap for you guys once I get the mic back. But we're going to dive in. You know what? We actually have about 10 questions today. And I do want to let you know that today is an entire episode that Chris is going to be responding to questions that you've sent in. I'll just be here, like I said, to be the one asking the question. He's going to just share his heart with you guys. But every week we do have people write in asking for Chris's perspective on various questions having to do with the business or our lifestyle or, you know, running a business from home, or why he's still a firefighter when I guess technically he doesn't need to work. All those things. And you guys wrote in some really great questions. So I pulled them from the queue. We're going to go ahead and dive in. Mr. HOLFIT here, we've been together for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Chris has been on the fire department for 18 years. So being in a job that requires a lot of teamwork, self-leadership, taking ownership of his health, mentoring other people, you got it. There's just so much you have to add value to today. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yep.
I'm going to ask the question, and he's going to share.
You can feel free to jump in at any time when I start sweating or those long pauses.
Today you have to watch your facial expressions.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm going to model for you how to be engaging even when you're not talking.
Flip my hair.
And I did get valuable feedback from my mother-in-law last night who said, could you please stop touching your hair when you are live? So I'm going to do one last adjustment here. Maybe some of you have thought the same thing. And I said, hey, thanks. That's great. No one's told me that before. Okay. So as you guys are commenting live, I will take some notes if there's anything that I think that Chris could elaborate in the various topics. But go ahead and share this. If you know anyone who is in a relationship, who's looking to own a business, who wants to become healthier, who maybe doesn't have the support of the person in their life, you're going to glean a lot from Mr. HOLFIT today. So are you ready for the first question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. This comes from Sarah. She said, hey, Chris and Ange, thank you so much for all you do. We greatly appreciate that you share and inspire on a regular basis. My questions are primarily geared towards Chris. I'd love to hear your perspective, Ange, if you have it. Well, I'm not going to share mine today, okay? So this is all you. So Chris, at what point did you think, hey, there's something to this doTERRA thing?
Okay, well, truthfully, the sexy sort of answer would have been when you started rank advancing and seeing, you know, the monetary value, the coming in and everything else. Like that's the one answer I think everyone is kind of expecting, or maybe wanting, or whoever asked this question kind of wanted to get. But truthfully, it was the first time I went to the convention in Utah, and there you were just new. Everything was new, right? Everything had just started out new. We were just kind of getting our feet wet in the business. And when I went to that convention, one of the biggest things that I saw, and really, it didn't change my mind, but it made me feel comfortable. And I think that's a key word, is I felt comfortable investing into this world. Was, first of all, it started with the when I actually got to see the owners on stage, the owners of doTERRA, just the integrity that they showed. Not in so much what they were speaking about, but you could just tell when you first meet those people and you see those people talk that there was a very kind heart. There was a very, like I said, there was a nice integrity about these people, that they wanted to share what they have created with everyone else. And there was no ego-driven feelings about it. This is coming from the owners. There was no show, there was no flash, because truthfully, when I went there, that's kind of what I was looking for. I was, in a way, I think in the back of my mind, thinking that, okay, we're going to go here and it's going to be lights, camera, action, fireworks, laser beams, and everything else. And they're just going to try to sell us the sizzle. They're not going to try to sell us the steak. And I think part of me seriously did kind of want to see that, so I could be like, well, I kind of knew that was going to happen, but it never happened. And thankfully, I had won a bet with myself and lost. And that was the first part of it. The other part too wasn't just from I will say too, from the owners, that was just a definite trickle down effect, because what I could see at the top was it just trickled down right to the person that we were sitting with on the floor, way at the back of the room, and there was no sense of again, I go back to, there's no sense of monetary value. Everyone was just wanted to be a better person for themselves and to help other people, and everyone sort of had that same sort of quality of, I'm interested in my health, but I also want to share this with everyone else. I just want everyone to feel part of this. So I kind of went on there a little bit longer. And again, you may think that, oh yeah, this guy's just talking about, oh, he's bringing up the owners, like trying to get on their good side or whatever like that. But truthfully,
you already are at this point.
Well, whatever. I mean,
yeah,
but again, it's one of those things that I always thought that the leadership always starts at the top. And what I saw from them was, whoa, like it definitely worked its way down the ladder right to the person who just joined up. So anyways.
Yeah, that's great. And I think the takeaway there is going to an actual event where you could get a real feeling for the culture of the company. So it doesn't have to mean that you take your husband or wife to convention in Utah. It could be going to one of the wellness summits or regional summits, something where they can really get a feeling for the energy in the room and the type of people.
And I will say too, like, I mean, I'm talking about conventions, so that's a long way to go. Some people may not be able to go to Utah in September or whatever like that. I'm not trying to sell that. Another way to look at it is do your research. Like, look at the people that are running this place. Look at the people that are involved in this place. And honestly, you will find, throughout, that there is just a ton of good people. That's what it comes down to. You can throw buzzwords like integrity and selfishness and whatever, but it all just comes down to the fact that they're just genuinely good people involved here. So, next question.
Awesome. All right, next quest. Okay, from Lorianne. How was it as a husband to see your wife start a business with young children? The difficulties when starting can be time consuming. How was it for you through the beginning?
Okay, well, first of all, I should preface this by saying, like, I'm in the unique position. I've always been in the unique position of being able to have time off from my job. Like, that's just the way that my shifts work. So I've always had enough time off that we had been able to always bounce, parental responsibilities around the kids, and that wasn't a big deal. I look at it like this. You say it's time consuming in the difficulties. I really do believe that no matter what you're doing, especially owning your own business, right? At the start of anything, there's going to be difficulties, and there's going to be time consuming. You can't just jump into anything and be like, well, I'm going to start my own business today. And there's not going to be times where it's going to take a long time to get where you want to go. There's going to be roadblocks in your way, right? And if you're doing this as a couple, you have to be able to navigate through all that. And, like I said, with my time off, it was fine. We can manage that. But you have to realize that there's a point where you're going to have to buckle down, and there's things you're going to have to do and sacrifices you're going to have to make anything a go, not just doTERRA or whatever, but you have to sacrifice and make it, make it work. Does that make sense? I don't know if that answers the question.
I mean, the number one fear of a mom is that she's not doing enough for her kids. It's the mom guilt that comes in, and only you can manage that. So the one thing I'll speak to within this question is it doesn't matter what situation you're in. We all have demands on our time, whether you're a mom of a newborn or you work a full-time job. Everyone's 24 hours looks different, and it's up to you to figure that out and figure out the pockets of time you're going to do stuff and release the guilt. I mean, yeah, I had times where I felt like, okay, I'm out teaching 3 to 4 times a week. I knew the demands that put on our home, but communication was super important. And if he's being honest, those weeks were tough. Like, it's hard to go back in time 4 years ago and remember what that felt like. Yeah. But I continued to communicate with him and say, you know, on a Sunday, we'd look at our week. Here's what's up this week. Here's what I would love your help with. Can you give me that? If not, I had to figure that out. So you take ownership of it. And yeah, if there's weeks where you know the burden of your new business is starting to impact your family, then the following week, it's up to you to do more time together. Maybe that's scheduling a date night with your husband or wife each week. So you have that time to really be together and don't talk about your business.
No, you have to, and the other thing is too, is you, like, the most important thing, and it's the most basic thing when you think about it, is communication. Like, if, you know, as a husband, he's got to be able to communicate to you that, you know what, things might be going off the rails here a bit. You're spending a little bit too much time on the road. And for you, it may be like, for a woman, for a wife or whoever, it could be like, I need you to pick up the slack here and pick the kids up after school because I need to get this ready. It's communication. Mm-hmm. Don't feel, this is for everyone now, don't feel that you can't bring up to your spouse that you need them to do something. Remember, this is a team, right? You guys are a team. This was a team before, when you guys were all dating, and that's the way it was supposed to always be. So there should be no ego, there should be no shame in asking someone for help, because when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done, like we do, we look back on these and like, yeah, we talked about those nights that you were gone and all, but I don't remember them. You'll completely forget all about those hard times. And I keep going back to it. If anything you want, and it sounds so cliche, if anything you want in life, it's going to be hard work. Yeah. If it's not hard work, then just stay where you're at and you know, punch the clock on life, and you don't want to look back and go, man, I wish I had done that. And again, everyone says that these days. It's such a cliche answer to everything. But if you need something done and you want to do something that you want to do, then it's going to take work. It's going to take sacrifice, but you have to communicate with the other person, and you have to communicate with your kids too. Don't leave them out in the open, because if they see that mom's gone all the time, let them know why mom's gone all the time. And if you're lucky enough, bring them with you and let them see what you do.
I haven't built this business on my own.
No.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I mean, just because you don't know my back office numbers and every single person on our team, we have built this business as a family. Everyone has helped build this, and that's come from communication. So yeah, Julie, team power. That's right. I love it. All right, let's go to the next one. So quite a few here. All right, so what are specific ways that you help Ange in this family business, or team power, as Julie said there? Okay,
well, I'm going to kind of get general here again, because it's, you know, I come from a different sort of a work background and everything with the time I have off. So like, you know, it's going to look different for every couple. Some guys join doTERRA with their wives first. Some guys are like, what do you call them? Early adopters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some guys are the ones who
some guys are the ones who started. Some guys are early adopters to it with their wife. Some guys are like, oh gosh, I don't want anything to do with that. So what was the question?
So what are specific ways? Give them specific things you do to help the business, I guess.
All right. Well, again, I don't think this has really changed since day one, but again, it goes down to time management. You've always needed that time to completely focus on your business. And when I say focus on your business, that's not like 7 a.m. in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. There's always been those constraints that you've put around your working hours, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, when I started helping out and doing all this, it was a simple question of like, what do you need me to do right now that's going to make your work easier? And at that time, it was what? Can you go to the post office and mail out 150 packages on December 24th? Right? Things like that. It was mailing packages. It was I make the joke, it was like literally like licking envelopes and putting stamps on stuff.
Yeah.
It was things like that that gave you the ability to focus on what needed to be done in your office, right?
So he was my initial assistant, right? In that sense. Now, this is a trap some people fall into where, you know, wife is building doTERRA, husband cuts back at work, or maybe even stops work, comes home, and is all of a sudden running like a daycare, which is like, you know, yes, that might be freeing up mom to focus on her business, but maybe that's not actually, you know, what is going to help your husband or your wife feel fulfilled. So, I mean, that's the goal, and it can't be the long-term plan. So initially, that's what Chris helped me with, you know, going to the post office, running errands for me, helping free up my time until I hired for that.
Yeah. I mean, even the times like lifting this big monitor in the back of your Kia to go to whatever presentation you were doing. It was things like that. It was the small little things like that, I think, that really built up where we're at today, right?
Yeah. And you know, part of this is also me not feeling guilty about asking for help when I needed it. And like Chris said, communicating clearly what I needed help with. This is going to be something mostly for women, that you need to just ask for that help when you need it and clearly communicate what's happening. And as your business grows, if for this question, you're going to want to go back and listen to the podcast episode called "It Takes a Village to Raise a Vision." Because in there, I go through the various levels in your business of asking for help to get to the point where you're eventually contracting or hiring out things. And as you become more wealthy, what money really does is it affords you the ability to buy your time back. And initially, the teamwork within the home, everyone's going to be working together, doing all the things until you get to a point where you can hire that out.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but like in a mental capacity, I know. In another way too is, again, I keep going back to that word, that teamwork word. Like the way I've always been taught and the way I've grown up and played sports and whatever like that is, if you're on a team, everyone has a role on that team, whether it be the fourth line winger or the first line center, whatever. You know, you're the quarterback, you're the backup quarterback, whatever sports terminology you want to use. But I've always been of the assumption that no matter how big your job is or how small your role is or whatever, everything you do adds to the success of that team. So if it's just like I said, you know, licking envelopes or putting stamps on, it's a small part that no one cares about. It's not a big deal. It's definitely not going to get you big headlines or get you any recognition. But it's the little things like that that make the big picture work. It makes it all flow. You can't have a team of, you know, alpha Wayne Gretzky's on your team, because it's not going to work. You need guys to go in the corner. You need guys to grind, all that stuff. So it comes down to that. No matter how big the job is or small the job is, do the job the best that you can do it, and that's where you're going to find your success. Right?
Yeah. And, you know, when you first started in the fire department, it looked a lot like cleaning toilets and making breakfast and all those things. And sometimes you still do it because you become the junior guy when seniors come in. And in that sense, we all have a role to play. Like, and I love that. And that shows up, you know, as your business evolves, the role that everyone plays does change. And now, you know, I love to have you here involved in the mentoring piece, because that really is the base note of his actual role as a firefighter is that leadership of himself and taking ownership and working with a team. So there's so much value he can add to these conversations and times when I need a different perspective on something that's coming up on my team with various relationships. So that's really the extent of what he does in the business. Now, Chris does not care about marketing. He does not care about numbers. He doesn't even know the password to my doTERRA back office. So there are some men in doTERRA who love that stuff. There are some men who are in business, in marketing, and they can lend a lot to that family business. But that's not what he cares about. No. And so he contributes in a way that is natural for him.
Because everything I see here is, you know, you have all your teams and everyone has a team and everyone's looking out for each other and all that. So that's sort of what I add to it is, like, where I'm from, if you're an individual and you act like an individual, you're going to get called out real quick and you're going to get thrown out real quick. And you don't want that. And it really shows sometimes where, you know, there's people that they'll You know, they'll do their own thing, and it's not a good spot to be in. So I can help you with that. I kind of bring up that whole leadership and that teamwork stuff and try to help you with that. So
yeah. Okay, next question from Aaron. Why do you still work as a firefighter when you could help Ange more with the business? This is kind of builds off that
sort
last
of, yeah.
one. Did you initially struggle with her success? How do you guys keep it real?
Okay, I'll answer the first one. Why do I still work as a firefighter? I love it. I love the job. To me, it's honestly the best thing for me. It's the best job in the world. I love it. I love the guys I work with. What we do is meaningful. There's not a lot of, you know, jobs out there anymore that people actually get a satisfaction out of helping others or working in a real tight-knit team environment, working with great guys that are better than me, 10 times better than me, showing me new things all the time. You know, so the environment itself is just amazing. But yeah, it's not, I don't do it for the glory. I don't do it to wear the t-shirt at the gym.
No,
right?
I
don't do it to tell everyone, oh, this is what I do and look at me. And it's not about that. To me, it's, if I have a good day for me is knowing that all 3 or 4 of us that I work with have honestly made a difference in someone's life that, you know what, we'll probably never ever meet them again. But they called us for help. They needed us for help. They picked us that day to help out for whatever the reason is, life or death, or changing a battery in a smoke detector, doesn't matter. But it's so gratifying to know that you made someone's day and you helped them out. And for me, what else is life about? Am I going to be selfish and be like, well, I don't care. You know, whatever, I got mine, we got ours, we're good to go, right?
Should the job change? Should the team change?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's about fulfillment and loving what you do, and he loves what he does. And it's not about retiring at 35.
No.
It's about contributing in a meaningful way.
And the other thing is too, is it's challenging. Like, it challenges me mentally, it challenges me physically. I don't want to be one of these guys that's, you know, like, I want to stay in shape. I want to keep, you know, crushing it. I don't want to be one of these guys who the younger guys look at and go, look at this guy, how he can barely walk. Look at him. How's he even still on the job? Like, I want to challenge myself and be better at the job every day. And from what I learned there, I want to pass it down and make the job better for the younger guys coming up. That's my goal. That's why I stay there.
That one of our questions was, did you initially struggle with my success?
Okay. Well, again, I think that question kind of goes back to when I first read that question. I was kind of like, why would I ever struggle with your success? Because again, my mentality has always been like, if we're a team, like, I want to see you do the best you can. I don't care if you did 98% of the work and I did 2%. I'm glad that you did it. I'm glad that you got the recognition or whatever like that. So no, I've never struggled with your success. I mean, I never even thought about that question. It never even kind of popped into my mind. Again, it kind of goes back to, you know, who you were, right? You were so authentic in the way you built this business that it's not like I didn't recognize the person that was building this business from day one. I completely recognized you from the minute that I walked in the Starbucks and saw you. That's
big, what you just said there, that it's not like there wasn't this point where you started to not recognize me or who I am because of this business. Like, this business wasn't changing who I am. If anything, it was bringing out the best in me.
Yeah, like,
which impacts you and our family. It should do that if it's in alignment, right?
Yeah, I never had this feeling of like, I was worried that you were going to change, or you were going to be someone different, or you're going to present yourself online as someone that I didn't recognize, right? Because you know I would call you out right on that right away, but what are you doing? You know, right?
That is how we keep it real.
Yeah, and again, that's how we keep it real. Like, we keep each other in check pretty good. You know, I could do a whole other show on some of the things that we've talked about, you know, you keeping me real and keeping me real, keeping me in check. But no, you're right. That's exactly it. So.
Yeah, alignment and authenticity is huge in your business. Your business should bring out the best in you, and the people you love and care about the most in your home, for example, should be impacted for the better because of who you're becoming through your success. Money and success brings out more of who we really are.
Yeah.
And that works both ways. And
we've seen that too.
Yeah,
We've seen that a lot. It's never, there's nothing that's really changed the way we've from day one really started this thing, right? It really never has. So
I still dress like this.
yeah, exactly. We laugh it's funny, like we laugh all the time about some of the things that we still do that we did 20 years ago, and
they're who we are.
Yeah, because it's who
Money
we are.
Doesn't change that.
No.
Success or fame or whatever should not change that. It does for people. We all know those people who live like they've got new money and new fame and they're chasing followers. They're after the wrong things. If you build your business with your core values and staying true to who you are and helping those people that you're meant to help, not the 90% of the people you're not meant to help because you don't know what it's like to be them.
Yeah.
This business will feel incredible and will only bring out more and more of the best in you. So,
all right.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay. What advice do you have for husbands whose wives have built doTERRA to a point where the husband's job is no longer necessary? We kind of touched on this one already. Anything you want to elaborate on there?
If any husbands are listening, I would say really, if you're thinking about this, I would just say sleep on it. Not for the reason that, you're doing well financially and all that, but you really have to sleep on it. You really have to think, okay, so I'm quit my job tomorrow. What's my role going to be now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know enough about the business? Do you know enough about your wife's work? Are you willing to sacrifice the time and the energy to jump into her work? Like, those are the questions you have to ask, because if you're going to do this, you better be able to back it up with some sort of responsibility or way to help out in the business. I mean, you really have to be in it 100%, right?
Well, and the reality is, women, let's just use women as an example. If you've started doTERRA and you're building it, if you just don't quit on yourself and your business, the reality is you will be in a position within the next year to 3 years where your husband or wife could leave their job. So this is an important conversation to have. The reality is, for a lot of people, that is the goal. Like, there are a lot of men who are in jobs, and the goal that the wife has is to retire her husband from that job because it's killing him. It's sucking his soul dry. He's not happy, and that's impacting the whole unit, mm-hmm. right? So you have to talk about this early on. The earlier, the better. Yeah. The reality is that day is coming where you'll have to make that decision.
And the other thing, too, is if you're a guy, don't just do it to say to your buddies, yeah, I'm retired at 35, or I'm retired. Because really,
that screams new money.
It just kind of screams just amateur hour, because you know what, the guys don't care. They'll just go home and they don't care. So yeah, you might have that one quick story about how you retired and you're loving life. Like, what are you gonna do? Sit on the beach for 6 months?
Where are you transferring your passion?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with that? Mm-hmm. So I've that's always been, and you know this, and I'll tell you, everyone here, it's always been one of the things that I kind of chuckle at, because it's like, well, what's your identity? Is it just to tell the boys at the bar or the boys at work that you're retired? Because if you're doing that, all you're doing is trying to just throw it in their face, saying, when you're back at work next week, I'm going to be sitting there doing God knows what. Mm-hmm. Anyways, next
question. How do you and Ange schedule life together? How do you determine priorities?
Everything goes in the Google Calendar. Everything.
I said it for years.
Everything goes in the Google Calendar. And I mean everything. That's not shower. Yeah. Blending
this smoothie. I mean, priorities around our health and calls and all the things.
Yeah, and really, that's one of the easiest, most inexpensive ways to run your life. Really, I've seen how you work with that.
Mm-hmm. If it's not on there, it's not happening.
If it's not on there, it doesn't count.
For all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's most important, like prioritizing?
Well, and the other thing is I've gotten to an age now where if you're going to prioritize stuff, everything, sorry.
This keeps happening. Let me fix your mic.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
The only thing I think about now is whatever I do or whatever we do, how's that going to impact our family
And the team.
and the team. So it is, as long as everything's taken care of that way, like, and I mean like 100%, this is just sort of the way I am. I don't like to leave things undone. Like if we're with the kids, I want to make sure that the homework's done before we do anything else, all that. And I just want to make sure that we protect that family first.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else to me is just noise. I've used that term before. It really is just kind of noise. I'm at an age now where I don't need to be going out with the boys and hanging out and, doing all that stuff. I mean, those days for me are done. I'd rather, if I'm not in bed by 10 o'clock at night, then I'm having a freak out, right? So I don't need that anymore. And I think that's just one of those things that comes with age. It's sort of a discipline that I've learned over time, which I've used, and it works for me, right? It works for me. So.
And when things get out of control, it's up to us to fix. Bottom line. I mean, we have those weeks where there's too many things going on. I've learned over the years to say yes to like nothing until I run it through my calendar and really check in with my vision. Like, does this align? I've got some things coming up in the summer that I might need to cancel because they're starting to feel heavy on me. Okay. It's always a process, but I do want to just answer. Jessa Ray asked if I use a scheduling app other than Google Calendar. So Google Calendar is the hub. When people want my time, whether that's for calls or to learn about doTERRA in a one-on-one experience, I have a scheduling system I use called Schedulista. There's tons of different ones out there like Schedule Once, Calendly. I mean, you guys, if you're using something, please share in the comments, but this is obviously a huge time saver for me. So if somebody wants to book a call with me, I only have 2 days a week where I offer my time for calls, and I do a max of 3 calls a day. And sometimes if someone's going to book a call with me, it might take a month, and they fill in a form so that our call is really focused. So when I'm mentoring somebody on my team, I have a variety of questions I have them answer before we have a call. Sometimes that call doesn't happen based on the kind of answers they give. If I can tell that they're looking for a call to pull them out of the dumps, or they're using it as a crutch for not taking action in their business, that call's not happening because I'm all about action. So activator is my number one strength. And so I'm not a great mentor for people who want to talk a lot, to be honest. So we all have our weaknesses, but this is about focusing on strengths. So my strength is helping people get into action. So that call scheduling service, having the mentor form is like step 1 to having that action take place, and that serves my strength. Okay, just reading through your comments here. Okay, so hope that helps. Look into systems. You want to have systems, like we mentioned. Google Calendar, everything is on there. So that integrates nicely on our phones. So if someone at work asks him to take a trade on the fly, let's say, he can pull up his Google Calendar on his phone and see what's up, and everything's there. So you got to have a system.
Yeah.
I used to do paper like 10 years ago.
And I can see the calendar. I can see it. It's like a family calendar.
We share it.
Yeah, we share it.
Yeah. So Jenny said, can Chris also see your calendar? Yeah. Google's the best because it's free. And it integrates with a lot of scheduling systems. Like I mentioned, that Schedulista that I use, it integrates with my Google Calendar. So does Calendly and those other ones I mentioned. Okay, what made you believe in my leadership and give me the space to create?
I would say, you know what? I believe in you, basically, the way you lived your life. You always lived your life with sort of that integrity, and this sounds like a love letter to you and whatever, but
I'm receiving it as that.
Well, okay, that you should. But yeah, there's never been a reason not to believe in you because of the way you've always lived your life and the way you've worked in previous jobs, whether it was, and I always go back to that, like you started at the bottom of Starbucks, right?
Yes, I did.
You were one of the first ones in the door, and you were opening that store up, making lattes and then you worked yourself all the way up, and nothing ever changed in you. That work ethic, right from sweeping the floors at 11 o'clock at night to managing 10 stores by the end of your career there was the same. You tackled it all the same. So there was never any reason for me not to believe in you. Like, you always led your life the way you work now. So there was that, right?
That's really meaningful.
Well, it's true though, right? It's
wow. I'm so glad we did this broadcast.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. I think what I took from that is, if this is a fear that you have, that you might not have the belief from your husband or wife or whoever, there's probably a time that is resonating deeply within you where you feel like you have taught them not to believe in you. And this is crucial to understand, because what's playing into your fear is these experiences that are coming up for you of times where you've quit too soon, or you were impulsive on ideas, or you weren't willing to put the work in, and now here you are starting yet another thing. So you've taught people around you that they can't trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And so if you find yourself in that position now where you're wanting, let's say you're wanting to start a doTERRA business, communicate what you plan to do. Communicate clearly what this is going to look like for your family in order for you to really give this a shot. Ask for the support and love and help you're going to need for those days that are hard. You know, ask, you know, just say, you know, when you see me start to do X, Y, Z, here's what I'd love for you to help me with. Help them help you, right? And so that's really what I took from your response, is we teach other people what to expect of us. So if you have this fear of not having the support, maybe now's the time in your life to get real about your goals and the work you're willing to do in your business, and stop fooling around and stop quitting. Stop starting and quitting and hopping on to the next thing. The cool thing is, there are a lot of people who end up in doTERRA who have done that. And then they come to doTERRA and they describe it as a feeling of coming home. Like, this is what they've been looking for the whole time. So now is probably the time for you to start showing people what they can expect from you and stick with it.
Second part of that.
Yeah, go for it.
What gave her this?
What helps you honor what I'm wanting to do?
Well, yeah, again, the second part of that question was what made you believe in her leadership and gave her space to create? 100% being honest, at the very start of this, I had a very hard time with it, only because you were working from home. And for me, I would see you working down the hall in your office, and I'd just walk in and be like, hey, let's go for lunch. And you'd be like, I can't, I'm working. And I had a real tough time, not because I wasn't going to let you do work, but I just had a real tough time of like you physically being in front of me, and you're turning around looking at me and being like, I can't, I'm here, I'm doing work. I'm like, no, you're here. Like, you can do this later. You're home. You're not in an office. You're not on a job site somewhere. Like, you're here. Let's do it. And one of the things that made me kind of realize that, okay, you're running, you're doing a job from home. You're running this business from home. And I thought to myself, you know what? How would I like it if I was at work and that buzzer rang and you were coming by work, just dropping in randomly and being like, hey, let's just hang out, or let's just have lunch together. And I realized, I'm like, I wouldn't like that too much. That would get pretty annoying pretty quick. So I put myself in your position and thought, that's pretty annoying when I'm trying to do work and you're coming in and trying to take me off task for whatever reason. So pretty quick, I realized that, you know what, here's your time. Here's the time that you need. You've set your boundaries with me early on. So I just let you do your thing. And if you needed me for something, just give me a call, text me, whatever, and I'll be there and help you out. So, but it took me a long time. It was definitely not one of these things where right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, cool, you're working from home, awesome. No, I'd be like, well, you know, I'm going to come and vacuum in there in 10 minutes, so be done. Like, stuff like that. It was just like juvenile things. But then I realized how would I like it if you came to my work and started doing that?
It's an honoring.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, it just kind of proved the point that this building this business to where it is now did not just happen overnight. You fall into those little roadblocks and stumbling. Okay.
You know, any of us teaching anything with any level of wisdom or expertise has gone through the fire. We've had times. I think the thing I would say here is if you're truly building this business, schedule out your time and stick with it. Don't, be tempted to go for lunch with friends or your husband or whatever when you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z during lunch hour, let's say. But also, don't be building your business from the dining room table, like in the middle of all the action going on. Don't kid yourself. You're not going to be able to get anything done. So whether it's the pantry or a corner in the basement, think about how you can create an environment that promotes action out of you. Set it up. I mean, the office that I have today, it's a nice size. I've got everything around me that helps me get into action the minute I walk into my office. There's lots of white. There's inspiring books. I've got my oils, my diffuser. I have the sound system hooked up, so music and podcasts are playing. But when I first started, you guys, it was me in the corner of the basement with a black sheet behind me doing webinars. If people only knew what I was looking at.
But the original HOLFIT studio looked like?
Oh yeah, but I did it because even though the business was boxes and our basement was just full of boxes, nothing was done.
Basement wasn't finished, nothing, right?
No.
It was just
we had an old stepper down there, cobwebs. But I knew I needed to separate myself from all of the commotion going on in the house so that when I stepped into what I have set aside as my office, that I knew I was there to work. And if, in the early days, like you said, if you came downstairs and said, hey, let's go for lunch. Why are you building a business if you can't just go for lunch, right?
Is that how I sounded?
No.
Okay.
In my head, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But I had to set those boundaries early on. So if I'm saying, hey, from 1 to 3, I'm working. Please don't disrupt me. If anything, bring me a coffee. Love language.
So what does it come down to? What's the one word that this all comes down to?
Clear communication, boundaries, and do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
That is key. You will have the best sleep ever at night if you run through your days doing what you said you were going to do, and stop saying yes to things when they pop up. And that is how he gives me the space to create. And I take ownership of it. I hire out. I have someone who comes to the house twice a week to assist me in taking care of my home, you guys. This is where you start to evolve so you can continue to do your best work. I love this last question. Comes from a dude. And then we're going to take the last 10 minutes to talk about essential oils that Chris uses and essential oils that would help every firefighter become healthier. Okay? So hopefully that's of value. I'm actually going to create a nice image you guys can share if you have firefighters in your life. Comment if you do. I'll share that later tonight. Okay, so this last question comes from Randy. He says, my partner does all the things, listens to podcasts to up-level her mindset, listens to audiobooks recommended by other leaders, does classes, does one-on-ones, the works, but she's not reaching her goals. She's been feeling defeated, even started to look at going back to school. But I know she can thrive in doTERRA, and he wrote that in capital letters. How do I, as her partner, help her to support this dream of hers and keep going to reach her full potential as a wellness advocate with doTERRA?
Okay, first off, what I would tell Randy is get your wife to stop listening to all podcasts, to up-level her mindset, all the audiobooks recommended by her leaders, all the classes and all the one-on-ones. Quit it all right now. Just stop. Stop. Look at all the ones, pick the ones that are meaningful. Pick the ones that align with her goals. Everything else, again, I go back to it, is just noise. You're going to be picking things from here, picking things from there, picking things from there. And it's like being at the bulk barn, grabbing 50 different candies in one bag. None of them are, there's no consistency there, right? Which, let's be honest, can be fun. But with work and business, there's no consistency, right? You want to have that consistency. Clearly her mind is going all over the place. It's off the rails. You said here she's thinking about going back to school, which, I mean, that's fine too. I'm not saying anything about that. She's feeling defeated. I think she's probably feeling defeated because she's got no direction. She's got no real clear direction for herself. The direction that she's taking is what other people are telling her what she should do. So she needs to pare down all this stuff, pare down all the noise, take a breath, right? I always say that. Take a breath, sleep on it, whatever, and realign yourself. Get a big old whiteboard, sit down with you, and write her goals out. Keep them minimalistic, keep them realistic, and work on that. And stop, guys, stop looking for other people all the time to motivate you every single day to get out of bed or to do your job or do your work or do whatever, work out, whatever. Stop doing that. Motivate yourself. You should use yourself as motivation. How bad and how good do you want to be today? What do you want to do today to make it happen? Motivate yourself. Find some motivation around you. What do you want to do for your kids? Do you want to be a badass for your kids? Do you want to show them the way? Do that. And it goes back to my point here with all this noise. Like, stop looking for that one piece of key advice for motivation. No, just find your own motivation. But along the way, find the people that inspire you and that align with what you're thinking, right? And the way you want to be. That's totally cool. But stop using all these other things as tools, because that's all it is. It's a crutch. You think that if you're going to sit down and listen to some guy's half-an-hour podcast about whatever is going to just overnight change the way you think and make you successful, it's not going to happen. Sit down, draw out what you want to do, keep it easy, and just crush those goals. If it's the smallest thing, like just getting out of bed early at 4 o'clock and 5:30 in the morning, hey, at least you did one thing on your list today, right? And I love the fact that Randy, that she can thrive at this business. That is huge, because I guarantee you, if you're like, you know what? If you don't feel it, I'm not feeling it either, then she'd be done. So clearly this Randy he knows, I think Randy knows what I'm talking about. I think Randy just asked this question because he wants his girl to hear it from someone else. Because as we all know, it's always better to hear it from someone else a little bit from a different perspective to make it really sink in. And I think one of the things is, I would just honestly just go back to that. There's no secret big answer to this. If I'm looking at this right now, get rid of all the noise around you. Pare it down. You don't need it. Listen, Oprah Winfrey isn't going to help you find your way in doTERRA. This money management guy is not going to help you find your way to business. Find someone that's close to you, has your goals, the way you think, and use that. And you know what? Just take your time. Mm-hmm. Take your time, right? Okay.
That just made my mentor heart happy. So that was so good.
All right.
And Randy, we love you. Who here dates a Randy or is married to a Randy?
I know a Randy.
I know you do. I don't think this was from him, though.
No, I don't think
I wonder if the partner of Randy is watching this right now. But could we all be like Randy and want the best for that person in our life? Especially, like, maybe you're a best friend of somebody trying to build a business, or the mother of somebody trying to build a business. They are out of their comfort zone and they need you. Support them, love on them, buy their products, go to their classes, be there for them, because they're just wanting to become better in life and they need you. And so I love this question and I love what you shared.
Yeah, we're just so inundated with so much information and everything else. And everyone's a celebrity and everyone's a role model and everyone's this and everyone's that. It's like, enough. Like, we know we can see through all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Be your own motivation.
I wrote a few thoughts as you were talking. I think, the key message here, and somebody who was a Danielle Lane, she wrote, the time in the field is just as important. There's actually a quote about this, I think from Jim Rohn. Maybe Jill, you can find it for me and post it, but it's something to the extent of 1 hour in the field. And by that, I mean like 1 hour out there doing the thing equals 20 hours learning how to do the thing. So the best way to build confidence in what you're doing and to hit those goals is to get out there and take action, imperfect action. So without being like 100% ready, maybe you go take action at 80%. And what this means is, when I talk about the importance of creating a success mindset, I've shared this before that I listen to a couple hours of podcasts or audiobooks each day, but it's not for me to build up confidence to go do the thing. It is something I do to keep my mindset growing while I'm taking action, right? That never takes or never replaces the importance of being out there doing the things. As a leader, it's your role to go first. You need to model everything you're going to be talking about with your team. So back to Randy's partner, like Chris said, strip it all away, get out there and take some action on those things, change it up. Stop letting so many voices in, so many experts, quote unquote, so much feedback, noise.
Yeah,
and you're just...
Everyone's an expert. And I always laugh too when this is kind of off topic, and I think everyone will appreciate this, but when I see people's Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and the first thing that is in their title is their name and underneath public figure. Public figure, huh? And that goes back to my point that
that's what mine says.
Oh, geez.
Well, I get what you're saying.
But everyone is an expert these days. So I'm not saying stop listening to them. This is me backtracking. But,
no, it's fine.
But you know, like, again, just stop listening to all the noise and find the people that you align with. And that's all I'm trying to say, you know? Yeah,
for sure. I have one last piece on that we're going to go to your routine. Time to relaunch your business. If you're in doTERRA, go to doTERRA.com, click on our wellness advocates and click on empowered success and open up the launch guide. When you're feeling stuck and you're not having growth in your business, it's time to start fresh. I recommend this to all of you, no matter what type of rank you identify with. Time to relaunch when you're feeling stuck. Get out there, take fresh action, make fresh friends, go to networking events, meet new people, get out there and share your love for what you do. And if that's doTERRA, you have something that could help anybody. So get out there and meet new people, relaunch. Even if you are a diamond leader in doTERRA, let's say, and you're feeling stuck, it's probably time to get back to doing the simple basics. And we all find ourselves where this person is, where we're just taking too much in. So.
Yeah. Do you want to run through these questions real quick?
Well,
why don't we run through these questions and you post? Do you want to post the routine or what?
Yeah, let me just see. Okay, so yeah, the last question that kind of tees up to how we're going to end this, talking about the oils that you use, the oils that would help firefighters. Mm-hmm. So Aaron asked, what have you found to be key in sharing essential oils effectively with men, specifically those tough-shelled firefighters? Like, did you have a hard time changing to this lifestyle? So you do that, and then how about I run through?
Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
The oils and supplements.
Okay, so did I have a hard time changing to an actual lifestyle? No, I've always been fairly into that. It wasn't really a hard thing to do. I always get this question too. What have you found to be the key in sharing essential oils effectively with men, specifically those tough-shelled firefighters? Well, I don't share it through words. I share it through actions. I do the oils in front of them, not purposely, because truthfully, I don't care what they think or what they say. I'll just,
big piece of stop caring.
Yeah, you just got to stop caring. So if I'm having a day or if I'm starting to feel sick, I'll just put some On Guard or just take a couple tablets. And then if they ask me, they ask me. If they don't, they don't. If they make fun of me, I don't care. It's being able to say, well, you know what, I don't really care. Again, that point goes back to my health is everything. I'm not going to worry about what someone thinks of me dropping a couple oil things in my water or rubbing peppermint on my temples. I'm not going to let someone dictate what they think of me. It's not going to dictate anything. It's my health. It's my body. It's the way I'm going to do it. So I don't really care. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so we'll go through this. But I think the big thing is, here's the key with men. The oils work, okay, bottom line. But the thing that men love, and again, I'm talking about doTERRA. You guys all know this by now. This is when I talk about essential oils, I'm talking about doTERRA, because the reality is, it'd be like comparing fruit to Fruit Loops. You know, if you're buying your oils at the mall or the dollar store, or the handful of companies that are coming out with them, they're not going to work, bottom line, because they're manufactured to smell a certain way, but they're not the magic of the plants. They're not the plant wisdom. So the thing that men love about doTERRA specifically is that the oils work instantly. Instantly. They have that, oh, wow, these are powerful, right? They actually do what you're hoping they do. So we want to share with you.
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, one more thing. The other thing is, for guys out there who are listening, or their wives, let them know this. You're always, if you're in this world, this oil world, you're always going to run into the skeptics, okay? You're always going to run into the guy who's going to say, oh, how's your wife's pyramid scheme coming along? Or how's those, what's that one word they always use? Snake oil? Snake oil, yeah. How's that snake oil doing and all that stuff? I always say, well, the way I always do it is, don't be the guy to give into that. Don't be the guy that gives into that like juvenile frat boy behavior and be like, oh yeah, she's doing good or whatever. Stand up for your girl, stand up for your wife, stand up for whoever, stand up for the oils. And the best way to get back at them is just be like, hey, you just keep doing you, and I'm just going to keep doing this and just crushing it and being healthy. So yeah, no, things are going good. So,
I love that.
You know.
Isn't that what we're all up to be honest? Let your lifestyle tell the story for you. I talk about the importance of that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I mean, I'm actually going to do a broadcast, you guys, on how to know who to listen to and who not to.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good. Okay, so I'm going to take this last section for the next 5 minutes or so. Instagram, we're going to lose you in 3 minutes. So if you want to hop over to Facebook, I'll just finish the routine for that Chris uses. And I'm going to share this with you because I've basically said to them, here, this is what you need to use and why, right? So in case you have to do the same, I'll share it from that perspective. So there are 6 categories that all firefighters, and probably most men, but specifically firefighters in their job, are going to be concerned with. There are 6 systems within the body: stress, sleep, digestion, immune, respiratory, and detoxification. So there's a lot of harmful chemicals that firefighters are exposed to. So there's a great need for them to manage the tipping point of the body. When I say tipping point, I mean there's a lot of different ways you could be healthy, okay? There are also a lot of different things that are taking away from your health, okay? So you need to manage that and have it in check. And because firefighters are exposed to a lot of petrochemicals, harmful chemicals that they're breathing in on the job, they have to do an even better job of supporting their body's systems so that that tipping point is not reached. And the tipping point equals obesity, disease, aging, system breakdown, basically, okay? So they need to be concerned with all the other things. If they're going to be breathing in all of the harmful chemicals, they need to be very mindful that they're not slathering themselves in harmful toxic colognes, that they're not using toxic
body sprays,
air fresheners of the Firehall, body sprays, Axe body spray, like axe that from your life, absolutely. Laundry detergent.
Oh, someone's got puns.
I have a lot of puns.
Yeah.
You know, so they have to look at all those things and where they can do a better job and manage that. Dr. Robin Fawcett, love you, girl. Thank you. She said, I can't think of any other profession that puts themselves in such harm's way to save others.
Thanks, Robin.
She's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about like a handful of oils that will help within this profession, but really for men in general. So number 1 is lavender. And again, if you're joining late, we're talking strictly about doTERRA. Don't fool around with other oils. I've said this before. Save your money. Rather than buying expensive handbags and shoes, buy the best oils in the world, and that is doTERRA. You will realize what I'm saying when you start using them, okay? So lavender, doTERRA lavender, great for stress, great for sleep, promoting better sleep. It's also a brilliant oil for using for burns, okay? It's very calming. So it's calming in all ways, calming for the skin and boosting skin healing, calming emotionally, calming so that they can have better sleep, okay? So it's going to also be one of 3 oils I'm going to share with you that help with environmental threats on the job. Lemon, lavender, peppermint, okay? So I'll circle back to that in a moment. But lavender, again, topically on the skin, diluting with coconut oil, keeping some there at the Firehall, but great for any type of skin contact issues topically, Okay, and then also obviously in the diffuser at night, you'll want your man to have a diffuser at the fire hall. So bye Insta. Just caught that they were going to be losing us. You know what I'll do? Let me just pull this up one more time. Bear with me, Facebook. It doesn't really let you start too easily, you know? Anyway, okay, I can't hop a video back up there super quick, so I'll keep going. Second oil is peppermint. This is going to support digestion and respiratory, okay? So diffusing at the hall again, peppermint and wild orange is great in the morning. So Chris works 24-hour shifts. So those guys are, you know, together that long. So they're through the morning. They come in early, all through the night, obviously. So diffusing that first thing in the morning is going to just, you know, energize everybody, purify the air. Again, that's wild orange and peppermint together, equal drops. I usually would recommend 2 of each, especially with doTERRA. It's pretty intense. 1 drop in the hand to open up the lungs and invigorate. So again, if they're needing to wake up, so a call comes in at 2 in the morning, they've got to go to a situation and be really alert. They've been woken from their sleep. A drop in their hand, breathe it in deeply. It's going to wake them up. A peppermint roller bottle is great for topical.
Love that.
He loves that. So applying that to the temples and back of neck, again, is going to just really wake them up. So this would be something to keep near their gear, because it's something they'll probably grab as they're putting their gear on. I mean, as you start to use oils, especially within a workplace or within the fire department, you'll notice such a difference. So you'll want to set up trigger habits, have those oils where you're going to need them, where you're going to use them.
Yeah.
And it also eases tension. So if through the type of work you're in, you get a lot of head tension, peppermint rolled along the hairline is going to be brilliant. Digestion, I mentioned too, 1 drop of doTERRA peppermint in a glass of water. Very calming, okay? Very calming on the digestive system. You get my point there. I have to be compliant with how I share here. Lemon is the 3rd oil. So lemon for supporting detoxification and respiratory, again, because it's cleaning the air, right? So lemon is the last oil I want to mention here. Lemon, lavender, peppermint, those 3 together are going to be your go-to for cleaning the air, especially in a situation where there might be toxic chemicals in the air, mold in the walls. This is what's going to reduce your exposure to environmental threats. Yeah. Diffusing lemon, lavender, peppermint, 2 drops of each would be brilliant.
And I would challenge anyone to disagree with this. Anyone who's got a problem with using oils or anything, trust me, if you've gone in those dirty basements or whatever like that, and you can literally smell the smoke on yourself in the morning and in your hair and everything else, the very first thing you want to do is start to detoxify your body. And all these guys and all these girls who talk about the myth of detox and everything else, come try doing this for a little bit and see how that all turns out, and see if you're not going to want to detox your body. That's one of the biggest things that I see, and one of the best things that I use is the lemon for the detoxing afterwards. All that crap is in your system, and it's disgusting. And I always get a kick about all these people that talk about this detox this and doesn't work and all that. Trust me, it works. You know, it works. Anyways,
bottom line, and it works. It
works when you really need it to work.
Yeah. It
matters. Trust me, it all matters.
So with lemon, also doTERRA's lemon, obviously safe for ingestion. So 1 to 2 drops in a big bullet of water, and Chris drinks a ton of water. You've got to drink a lot of water to flush these harmful chemicals out of your system. The high limonene in doTERRA's lemon assists in that. Other oils that are high in limonene, if you want to explore them, would be tangerine and grapefruit. Okay, so you want to add those to your water, 1 to 2 drops. And also, lemon is kind of an like a degreaser. So if there are situations like where the guys need to remove soot, is that how you say it? Soot? S-O-O-T?
Yes.
Glue, like sticky residues off their gear, whatever, lemon will peel that baby right off. On Guard at work. So I want to talk about a couple specific products. The whole On Guard line, the protective line within doTERRA, is brilliant because again, you're getting little exposures to boost your immune system. Diffusing On Guard at the fire hall is smart, especially if someone's been sick or brought something into work with them, because you're there with these guys for quite a while. So diffusing on guard is smart because everybody benefits. That's the power of diffusing. Everybody breathing in that communal space is experiencing benefits from it. So it's cleaning the air. Chris also loves...
so many times with the soft gels, the on guard soft gels, like this whole winter, I chew them. I know they're pretty strong, but like I'll just chew them, I'll bite into them. So many times, everyone has that feeling of like, oh, I'm getting it now, I feel sick and all that. That's always my go-to. I have like a steady supply of those all the time. The other one is the On Guard hand spray. They give us the alcohol foamy stuff that dries your skin out. The On Guard hand spray is like always, it's my knife, my pen, and my On Guard hand spray. Always. That's the three things I carry all the time with me, because all the stuff that we come in contact to at medical calls and everything else, it's pretty gross, and at least they're helping out. But anyways, here we go.
And you check out the On Guard line. They have foaming hand soaps. They have laundry detergent. So again, when we talk about that tipping point, you'll want to explore that line for just helping reduce exposure to harmful chemicals in other areas. Tea tree oil. This is a smart one for putting a couple drops on the mattresses. Because if you have guys, if your husband works at a fire hall where they have a schedule where they're there at night, shift work, or 24 hours, they're sleeping in the same beds. Yeah. They bring their own sheets and pillows. But adding a couple drops of tea tree to a spray bottle with a little bit of water per use. Okay, so you want to use 2 to 3 drops per use. I've talked about the power of tea tree oil in controlling dust mites and bed bugs before. So you can look that up on HOLFIT or just look at your own research online. And then the last thing I'd mention was for sleep. So for sleep and stress management, Chris loves cedarwood and balance. Those work really well before bed. So whether you're just cupping your hands, breathing those in, or you put them in the diffuser or apply to bottoms of feet. I don't know if you bring these oils into the fire hall, but the ones you love at home, he has a diffuser on his side of the bed, a Lumo, and you love sandalwood, straight up. Yeah. And then the other combo is arbor vitae and bergamot.
I'm such a rugged guy. I'm an outdoorsman.
Deep Blue Rub, the cream, he's obsessed with. That combined with copaiba for supporting any kind of stress or strain on the body. So if you've used the Deep Blue Rub before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He'll layer it with copaiba, okay? An incredible combination for just supporting, how do I say this without saying it? Just the wear and tear of the job. Lastly, I want to talk about the supplements Chris takes. I'm not even sure if he knows why he takes them, but I fill his pill case with them.
Brown one, white one, yellow one.
So the Lifelong Vitality Pack, obviously, that's like a non-negotiable for bringing your body up to baseline health, okay? And then the Deep Blue Polyphenol, because polyphenols are incredible for your body for supporting all systems, helping you age in a healthy way, okay? So polyphenols are super important. We get those in a lot of high quality whole foods. Mito 2 Max for natural balanced energy that helps create clean cycles of energy in the body, supports mitochondrial integrity. Your mitochondria are the energy factors in your body. That's where ATP is formed, which basically is what you feel in your body. So Mito 2 Max is a brilliant supplement. We both take 2 a day, morning and afternoon. Same with the Deep Blue Polyphenol. DDR Prime, 1 to 2 a day, always 1 at night with dinner. But again, this is going to create healthy cells. It helps protect the integrity of your cells as they're forming. And your body, in every shape, every spot on your body, you are recreating new forms of your body every day through the cells that are dying off and sloughing off, and just the natural autophagy of cells. So that, you know, the clean reproduction, DDR Prime helps with that. And then specifically for Chris, the Zendocrine Herbal supplement. It's like food for your liver. Your liver is your main detoxification organ. And because he's in a situation where his body is taxed through his job, he does that regularly and takes it daily. I take it 4 times a year for 30 days. So I do the Cleanse and Restore Kit, which focuses on that supplement. Last thing I want you to share with them is just your, the last 3 areas: nutrition, workouts, anything else that's important?
Yeah, just the 3 things that I always use. Like I always think like these are the keys. Like the nutrition is a big thing. Obviously, everyone knows how nutrition. You don't want to be eating crap because you're just going to feel like crap all the time, right? I go into work. Again, I keep saying that I work with a great bunch of guys. We have a thing called all day salad. It's just a massive, massive salad for all day, and you just keep going back and eating that. It's all greens, it's all organics, everything else. We push ourselves at work too. Like, again, it's sort of the guy mentality, but like if you're not working out, then you are the worst person in that hall. So we shame each other basically into doing something every single day physically, and like a workout or whatever, do something, run the stairs. And if you're not working out, then you are the black sheep that day.
I have no idea why our printer is
Yeah,
going.
no idea. And honestly, the most important, and again, is if someone's a firefighter or your spouse or whatever, the reason I say this stuff is because you want to present yourself to the public. You want to show people that are calling you for help that if you show up at their house, they want to have faith in you. They don't want to look at someone and be like, oh my gosh, oh no, I'm in trouble here because they don't look like they could lift themselves or whatever. So you always want to maintain that level of self-pride, self-care, and self-awareness. Those are the 3 biggest things.
I love the guys you work with too. Like you all have that same mentality and approach to the job.
Yeah, like
that's not everywhere.
Like I always say, like you never want to embarrass yourself, right? And you never want to embarrass the people around you. So that's why doing what I do, you have to work hard to maintain that level. And finally, I'd say the last thing is downtime. Always have downtime. When you come home, leave the job at home. Leave all the pressures, all the calls, leave all the drama, everything else, just leave it all there. And if you're lucky enough to be like myself and have 2 great kids, whatever, spouse, then spend your time with them, because eventually, as much as you love the job, you're going to get a chance to go back to the job. And I always say to people, don't let your job be your identity. For right now, I always say to people, we're just renting that uniform. You're just renting it because eventually it's going to come to an end and nobody cares. Life keeps moving on. The job keeps moving on. Do the best that you can do when you're there. Make an impact when you're there. Show up. Show up for work all the time, 100% ready to go. And that's all you can ask. That's all you can do. Anyways.
Well,
good?
I just want to take a moment and thank you for your wisdom, your
well, it's both
experience. And I learned from you. You know, I think this is the thing. We all have a different perspective on how to do things, but we all have a very similar idea that it all is connected. We're
all the same. Yeah. Everyone just wants to be the best they can be. They want the best for their spouse. They want the best for their kids. They want the best for those close people around them. That's it. And like that last question I asked or answer was, just get rid of all the noise around you. It's not going to help you pay your bills. It's not going to help you become a better person. You are in charge of yourself. You are in charge of your family. Work on that first, and just, like I always say, like just crush that. And if you're doing that, you're good to go. Everything else is just whatever, And again, that's one thing I think that comes with age. Don't get focused on everything else that's going around you, because none of it matters. The only thing that matters is what's inside your 4 walls, right? Done.
100%.
All right.
I'm going to post an image later tonight that you can share if you have a firefighter in your life and what oils will help support them. As always, get connected with doTERRA. If you have an interest in essential oils, connect with the person who's been guiding you. If that person is me, you can find that info on my website, but it'll be the best decision you make for yourself and for your family. And there are a lot of different ways it'll impact life, such as at the Firehall. So anyway, I'll see you guys back here next week. If you're going to join live, I'm going to do a bit of a recap and my thoughts on what was shared at doTERRA's leadership retreat. Very interesting times. Lots of cool things happening because of this movement within empowered healthcare. Let's call it that. All right.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.